Hi friends, Miss Kristi here, and I am so excited to be together again cooking in the kitchen. Today we are learning how to make a cheesy egg bagel. This quick breakfast, or maybe have it for lunch or dinner, uses just 5 ingredients and only takes a few minutes to put together. We're gonna have fun making this together today, and I'm so glad you're here. Now, the first step to cooking and working in the kitchen is to wash our hands. While I wash my hands with soap and warm water for at least 20 seconds, let's go over the ingredients and supplies that you'll need to gather to cook along today. The ingredients you'll need are 1 bagel, 2 eggs, 1 slice of cheese, 1 tablespoon of cream cheese, and 1 tablespoon of milk. The supplies you'll need are a frying pan, small plate, liquid measuring cup, a spatula, 1 tablespoon, a fork, and a butter knife. Okay, great. Your hands are clean and my hands are clean. We've gathered our ingredients and supplies, so let's get started making our cheesy egg bagel. This is one of our favorite snacks or lunches or breakfast that we have in my house, so I'm excited to share it with you today. It's a quick, simple recipe. The first thing we need to do is grab our frying pan, and we need to get this warmed up on our stovetop. So we're gonna set this to medium. When we cook eggs, we want it to be a little bit lower. It takes a little bit longer because we don't wanna burn our egg. So the first step we're gonna do is take your frying pan, and we are going to put it on our stovetop and set it to medium and let it heat up a little bit. Okay, great. While our frying pan is warming up, let's get our eggs ready for the egg part of our cheesy egg bagel. Grab your liquid measuring cup and place that right in front of you. This is just where we're gonna mix our eggs and our milk, and then grab your 2 eggs. And the first thing we're going to do is just crack our eggs into our liquid measuring cup. Now, if you don't feel comfortable cracking them right in here because you're afraid to get a shell, you can definitely crack them into a small bowl and then pick out any shells you might have and then pour them in. But if not, all we're going to do is take 1 egg, tap it gently on the side, pull it apart slowly, and drop it in. And then you can throw your egg shells away, put them to the side. Same thing with the second egg. Give it a gentle tap, pull it apart, and you can throw your shell away. Luckily, we did not get any shells in there today. Now we just need to add our milk. So we're going to add a tablespoon of milk. This just helps make the eggs a little bit more fluffy. If you don't happen to have milk, maybe you can't drink milk, then you can just leave this part out of the recipe. I just like it because, again, it makes our eggs a little bit fluffy. So grab your 1 tablespoon. It's the one that says 1 TBSP. And whatever milk of choice that you have in your house today, and we are just going to pour in 1 tablespoon of milk right on top of our eggs. Keep your tablespoon to the side. We will use this again for the cream cheese. You can set any milk aside that you have, put it back in the refrigerator. And now grab your fork that we had in our supply list, and all we're gonna do is mix this up. So usually I'll use a fork because I can break the yolks. You could also use a whisk if you wanted to. So I just poke the yolks a little bit, and then I'm just gonna mix these up to scramble them before we pour them into our frying pan. Now, when we put them in our frying pan, we're going to leave them. We're not gonna scramble them like we have in the past. We're just going to let them cook in a flat, even layer. It's gonna become more of like a little omelet that we put on our bagel. So we'll see how to do that. But we're gonna scramble them in here, and then they are ready to go into our frying pan. Now, if you would like to add some salt and pepper to taste, you could take your salt pepper shaker, add a little of that in here now. Because of the cheese and the cream cheese, I don't feel like I have to add salt and pepper, so I don't usually add it. But if you would like to, now would be a good time to just pour a little bit in this and give it another mix. You can put your fork to the side. Before I put this in the frying pan, I'm actually gonna start toasting my bagel. So you do need a toaster for this recipe today. However, if you don't happen to have one, you don't have to toast your bagel. I just like how it gives it a bit more crunch. It helps melt the cheese and the cream cheese when we put that on there. But if you didn't wanna toast it, you didn't have to. So from here, before we put our eggs onto the frying pan, I'm going to take my bagel. If yours is not pre-cut or pre-sliced, you'll wanna use your butter knife that we have in the supply list and slice yours in half. And now I'm just going to put this in the toaster on medium, or maybe if you have numbers, it might be like a 3 or a 4. It's only gonna go in for about 2 minutes. So I'm going to place my bagel into my toaster. I'm going to set it, and that way by the time our eggs are done cooking, our bagel is toasted and we can put everything together. So from here, we are gonna go over to our stovetop. So I'm going to grab the spatula that we have in our supply list along with our eggs, and we're gonna head to the stovetop to cook these eggs. All right, friends, so we are back at our stovetop now, and what we need to do is get our eggs into our pan. So our pan is very hot. When we work with it, we need to make sure we're only touching the handle. And something else I want to tell you, I have a non-stick pan, so my eggs aren't going to stick to it. But if you don't have a non-stick pan, or you're not sure, you're going to want to take some cooking spray and spray that on there right now. Or if you have some cooking oil, like a vegetable oil or olive oil, you could do a tablespoon of that and put it in here. I don't have to, again, because mine is non-stick, but just know that if you don't have that, a little cooking spray is going to be your friend, because your eggs will not stick to your pan then. All we need to do now is pour our eggs into our pan. I love the liquid measuring cup to mix them in because it has a little spout. It's gonna make pouring it easy. So all I'm going to do is pour this in here. Our pan is warm because it's been warming up while we got our eggs ready. And I'm just going to set a 2-minute timer. So I have my timer here. We're gonna let these cook for 2 minutes. We're not going to touch them. And then after 2 minutes, we're just gonna flip them a little bit, and then they're almost done. So here we go, 2 minutes. All right, friends, this is exciting. So our 2 minutes is up, and at this point, our eggs have just sat and cooked in a flat, even layer. They cook pretty quickly because they're thin. And all I need to do now is grab my spatula, and I'm just going to fold it in half. Trying to make like an omelet shape a little bit. If it happens to break, it's no big deal because we are just gonna end up putting it on a bagel. But we don't wanna scramble it because then it's easy to fall off our bagel. We wanna try to keep it in as big of a piece as we can. So all I'm going to do is take the bottom of my spatula and scoop it on top of itself. So maybe you can get it in one big flop over. I needed about 3, which is okay. So we just want to turn it into somewhat of an omelet shape, but just get it folded upon itself like this. You can see it's halfway over. Now all I'm going to do is cook it for 1 more minute. So I'm going to set a 1-minute timer, and then we'll talk about getting it off and putting it on our bagel. All right, friends, so the last minute of cooking just finished, and what I want you to look for on your eggs is that basically that they look cooked through. So you don't want to see any really kind of slippery spots or anything that still looks a little liquidy. Your eggs should look cooked and fluffy with that milk in there. I didn't flip it, so I just left it on here to cook on top of itself. So at this point, we are ready to start assembling our cheesy egg bagel. So I'm going to turn off my burner, that is very important. Grab the handle, I'm not touching the hot part of this pan, it is very, very hot. And I need to bring this over to my workspace and put it on a protected surface. So you'll either need like an oven mitt, I have a wooden cutting board that I can set mine on. So you just have to put it on something that will protect your counter, and we need to bring this back to our workspace. All right, friends, so we are back at our workspace, and we now just get to assemble and finish up our cheesy egg bagel. So what I'm going to do is grab the plate that we had in our supply list. My bagel has popped up, so while my eggs were cooking, our bagel was cooking, and now it's done, so I'm just going to carefully take it out and set it on my plate. Move this to the side a little bit. Now we just need to add our cream cheese, so you will take the same 1 tablespoon that we used for the milk, it says 1 TBSP, and grab your cream cheese and your butter knife, because that's what we will use to spread it. So with our tablespoon, we're just going to scoop out a tablespoon of cream cheese. Now, this is really just your preference. If you make this and you like more cream cheese, by all means, add more cream cheese. If you think it's too much, you can always add a little bit less. This is just a good amount that we know how much we need in general. So I have a tablespoon of cream cheese here. You can put the rest of your cream cheese to the side. Grabbing my butter knife, and I'm just taking about half, putting it on one side, and then half on the other. So this is just a little thin layer of cream cheese. You can really use any cream cheese you like. I have plain cream cheese. If you use more of a sweet cream cheese, it's probably not gonna mix well with the egg flavor, but maybe you have like a chive cream cheese or a different flavor that you really like, so go ahead and try different things. You can put your tablespoon to the side. We are done using that. I'm just going to take my butter knife and I'm spreading out my cream cheese. This also helps to hold everything together. All right, so we've spread out our cream cheese, easy enough. You can put your knife to the side, that's all we needed that for. And now we're going to put our egg on. So I'm grabbing my spatula. I'm still not touching my pan because it's a little bit warm, but all I'm going to do is really flip this over on itself one more time. So I've now folded it once. When we cooked it, I folded it a second time just to make it a smaller shape. I'm going to set it on the bottom of my bagel, whichever is your bottom. And you can still see it's warm, which is really exciting because it's going to melt our cheese. So you wanna grab your cheese slice that we had in the recipe or in this ingredient list, whatever cheese you like. I just have a mozzarella, but whatever flavor is your favorite, you can go ahead, grab your slice of cheese, place it right on top of your egg, and then go ahead right away and put your top on. Because we want that cheese to start melting. So the hot egg and the warm bagel that we toasted is going to start to melt this cheese. Now I wouldn't go ahead and eat this right away because it's still very hot with that egg coming off of our oven, our frying pan. So you're gonna wanna let it cool for about 2 minutes and then we'll talk about giving it a try. All right, friends, this is exciting. I just let this cool for about 2 or 3 minutes. You just wanna make sure it's cool enough to take a big bite of it and that you're not going to burn your mouth. So if you need a little bit extra, if you touch it, it still feels quite warm, just give it a few more minutes. But we've given it a chance to let the cheese melt a little bit. The cream cheese is gonna even melt as well from the heat of that egg. But this is it, this is our cheesy egg bagel. We only use those 5 ingredients. We practiced cooking eggs on the stovetop, which is exciting. And now we've made ourselves this great little breakfast or lunch, and that's even sometimes at my house we have it for dinner. So I do hope you try it, and when you do, let me know how it goes. Leave me a comment, let me know if you have any questions. You can even send me a picture of how your cheesy egg bagel turned out. I'd love to get to see your creation, and maybe we can share it next week. Now, speaking of next week, which is episode 100, we are learning how to make buttered noodles. This is a quick how-to video to make buttered noodles right in our microwave, and it only uses 3 ingredients plus a little salt and pepper. In order to cook along and learn how to make buttered noodles in our microwave next week, these are the ingredients that you'll need to have ready in your kitchen. 4 ounces of spaghetti noodles, 3/4 cup of water, 1 tablespoon of butter, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt and pepper. Well, friends, our time together today is almost over. I do hope you've enjoyed learning how to make our cheesy egg bagel. I know I had fun and I already can't wait to cook together again next time. But before you say goodbye to this episode, make sure to click subscribe if you haven't already. You just have to click the little picture of me in the corner. That way you don't miss next week's episode. It'll be out on Friday, and I'll see you then. Bye, friends. It's time to eat.